There's part 3 of the weekly waffle. Not 3 times as good, but we're doing it in 3 bits anyway. And because there's a big racing topic that I wanted to talk about anyway, involving wagering and involving this angst that seems to be us versus them coming from Racing New South Wales towards wagering operators, as evidenced last week by Peter V'landys's sudden announcement that turnover tax for feature race meetings of a certain standard will go from 1.5% to 2%. Yep. Danny, is this vitally interesting to you?
I don't give a rat's.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what most punters would be thinking.
It's a bit like carbon tax, isn't it?
Right.
Do you notice carbon tax? I go and buy coffee. I don't see my carbon tax, you know, I'm not blueing about it. Going up or whatever.
Bob Brown's not happy about it though.
Bob Brown, I love it. Look, it's all very well. Betfair will bleed.
Yeah.
And a lot of the websites that rely on the sporting bet and the Betfair and the sports bet money, they might have a little bleed because they sort of get in their ear a bit, but I don't really see it as an issue.
Is it though, rather than carbon tax, the mining tax, that if we keep throwing, we'll get a big tax because these people are making so much money, and in the end they haven't made any more money.
I'd like to see what the difference is.
Yeah,
probably not much.
Now, let's break down a few of these things and see if we're right and wrong, and get in touch via Twitter if you think we're wrong. Peter V'landy said, Victoria have been doing this for ages. Well, Victoria do this during the Spring Carnival.
Yeah.
So for 6 weeks...
But we don't do it on turnover.
No.
We hadn't.
We hadn't, but now we have. But for 6 weeks they tax extra.
Yeah.
But that's the 6-week block of the Spring Carnival, starting from the Turnbull Stakes to the Emirates Stakes, where there's no footy, and racing is probably the #1 sport in this town.
Yep.
Peter V'landys has decided with this one, it's any race meeting which has a $150,000 feature race in it.
Right. Which could be a Group 3.
And when Shane Anderson on RSN asked him, how many of these meetings? Oh, 20 or 30.
Yeah.
Well, now 20 or 30 Saturday meetings would be 40 to 60% of the year if I got my maths right.
Yep.
That's a big differential.
Yeah.
And also when you break that down, you can have the Winter Cup in July, big crowd and big interest there. The Summer Cup in December, big crowd, big interest there. Of 150,000, every other race is worth 50. But it's okay. We're going to tax you more for betting on our product. I don't know why they just want to keep fighting the people who are ultimately promoting it. He said this will let the race clubs promote themselves better. Jeez, they've done a good job today. We're going to get extra pony rides, extra jumping castles.
How they go? What are the latest turnover figures released by RBL? Racing's turnover 69%.
Yep.
Below 70.
Yeah.
Dogs 20.
Yep.
Trots gone. 11.
Yep. So the point is, the best promoters of racing betting, I'm not aligned to anyone anymore. I wasn't supporting bet for a while, so I understand the product as opposed to being aligned with it. At the moment, the app's independent. We hope it continues. The best promoters of racing wagering are the corporate bookmakers. They're the ones putting the ads out. Now, you can dislike them for closing accounts of smart punters and everything else that you might want to have, but they promote racing more than anyone because it's in their interest.
They do. They're sponsoring. I think the corporates should be encouraged. The only problem, is that the TAB got such a monopoly on on the way, the pari-mutuel wagering. Is that they don't seem to be have the incentive to improve the product.
Exactly.
And they've got a website that doesn't work.
If you pedal harder, eventually
they've got a duet that turns over about $300 a meeting.
It's good.
Why bother? Yeah. Give us something else. Bring back the big straight 6. I want to have a bet.
And
on something I like.
No, but by extension then. So what we do, we tax we raise taxes on people betting. We what's the other thing they do? Oh, the racing network. If you want to study form, you get taxed per subscription. Yeah. Doesn't worry me. I couldn't give a stuff because I can write it off against tax. The average punter though, it does worry him. But they're trying to incentivise. They're saying they're incentivising TVN. So in other words, this isn't TVN's fault, because they're providing those KPIs to TVN. Raise your income from. They should be saying, look, don't worry about what you make out of the racing network, because that'll get people betting on our racing.
Yeah, and if they want to steer them towards the TAB, they can.
Yeah. The second point is, every other area of life is price sensitive. But, and this particularly comes from Racing New South Wales. Particularly this comes from Racing New South Wales. Why do they think punters aren't price sensitive?
Of course they are.
If you put rubbish odds up on the tab, and at the moment the pari-mutuel win betting is crap. So the big players bet on that because they can't get on with the corporate bookmakers who don't want real smart bettors. So they bet amongst themselves. The eventual tipping point will be they'll say, you know what, we can't get on for enough, let's concentrate on sport. Now, as you said, not only is it down to 69% of the 3 codes, but of the overall wagering landscape, it's shrinking all the time because sports betting's so attractive. So it's one thing to say, oh, they're making millions of dollars of profits, but you know what, there's actually a mechanism here that's disincentivising smart punters to stay in racing.
Somewhere it's going to tip where all of a sudden sports betting hold is greater than racing, and they're going to say, well, let's not worry about racing. We'll stick to sports betting. And while it's growing, it's shortening, it'll happen. They won't worry about racing.
I love racing, you love racing. I know blokes, smart punters who actually have no affiliation for anything other than winning at punting. They say, why would I bet on racing at 115% when I can bet on tennis and footy at 101%?
That's right.
I mean, it's just that simple.
That's why I like quaddies. I only take the 15% out once.
But what did the tab, with full pat on the back from both Racing Victoria and Racing New South Wales do last year? They increased the takeout of the quinella, of the trifecta and the quaddies, instead of dropping it. And where I was going with the win pool, the parimutuel win pool takeout hasn't changed in years. Yet, if they drop the price, you know what would be hurt the most? Corporates. Corporates best bet. You know why they bet best tote? Because it's financial. It's commercially smart for them to. So if the tab dropped their takeout, not only would it be commercially harder for corporates to put up best tote, but then it would the bigger players would see more money in the pool, they would bet more, and turnover would go up.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we have one tab, one pool?
Oh no, Dan, you just.
That would have the biggest effect on corporates.
Yeah.
It would force. I could have 10,000, and it wouldn't affect the pool. And when the Hong Kong money comes into the pool, I want to play them too. So don't worry about the corporates. Make some decisions outside the corporates that'll affect the corporates. Give us a pool where I can have a decent bet into that is not going to affect the price.
So that's our rant. I mean, basically, appreciate the punters are price sensitive. And this to the tab, and by extension Racing New South Wales, let's face it, we haven't heard too many counterpoint arguments, so you can think that Racing New South Wales provide the tab's argument and the breeder's argument. But why don't they just say, right, let's give the punters a chance, let's try this, because I know this happened in Hong Kong, I believe this happened in Hong Kong. They actually dropped the turnover, the tax on turnover.
Yeah.
And what happened? People bet more.
Went up.
So it's just, and in Hong Kong, that's our only outlet. Here we've got, as mentioned, sports betting and everything, all these other challenges. So I just hope
you remember in Hong Kong they also recognised the fact that there were players outside their TAB and they wanted to have an effect on them.
Come in, the best way to come in, drop the price. So there we go. Speaking of dropping the price, I'm not doing that, but hopefully I can find you some winners. Friday night at the Valley, Moonee Valley, and Bendigo Saturday. Very happy with both those tracks because I haven't been there.
If you're interstate and you don't know anything about Bendigo, it's about the best track in Australia.
Without going too far over the top, but it's the best track in the world. This has been the Weekly Waffle, and thank you for watching us.